Hey guys, it's Amanda and Barron, and we are back again with Kicking Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio. We've got Cindy joining us. But before we dive into more of that, I want to give a shout out to our second sponsor, who is Venti's Cafe. They are absolutely amazing as well. We have two amazing food sponsors that I love.
Wonderful sponsors.
Venti's Cafe, they also have really good healthy options. They've got gluten-free, they've got vegan, vegetarian, or meat options as well. Wholesome food if you want, or diet food, if whatever fits your diet at that time.
Healthy and healthier.
Thank you.
Healthy and healthier.
I was struggling on that one. So Venti's Cafe, definitely go check them out. They are downtown, and they are an awesome option.
Yes. Well, we're having a wonderful conversation with Cindy from our Central Oregon, our new Central Oregon chapter over there. And I think healthy living is definitely your passion. And I think a lot of the things that she's going to do over there is going to guide people down some education routes.
Absolutely.
But I would love to continue our discussion about the biblical oils. We talked about frankincense and how much that does. There's a couple other ones that you had mentioned to me earlier, one of them being myrrh, which is one of them that we talk about in, that the wise men brought to Christ was the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh.
Oh, okay.
So what exactly is myrrh?
Myrrh is also a resin-based oil, and it is, oh man, how can I tell you about myrrh? Myrrh is a very thick oil. Frankincense is a thin oil.
Okay.
And so they have different components. And one of the things I like with myrrh is that it has a sun protective feature to it.
Okay.
Interestingly.
So would it be a better choice than sunblock?
Well,
Would it be another choice?
it's another choice, and it depends.
Maybe better is the wrong word. Another choice.
I'm fairly fair, and I just came from a week in Florida, and I had a lot of sun, exposure, and I used a blend, like a skincare spray tonic kind of thing, and it has myrrh in it, as well as some other oils. And so that's all I used. I didn't use a blocker. So myrrh, yeah.
And actually, there's a lot of evidence proving that skin cancer has gotten worse since we started using blockers.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So whatever they're putting in these sun blockers is maybe blocking the sun, but it's also creating some skin cancer problems.
I think there are problems, and there's you have to read the labels.
Yes.
There's just a lot of
Yes.
garbage.
Somebody just did a presentation on sunblock and that I just saw, and the difference between them. And one of them is a chemical that kind of like actually breaks down your skin so that the blocker can get inside and create a barrier. And it was like a chemical that breaks down my skin to create a blocker.
That doesn't sound like a good combination.
That does not sound okay at all. It was like, I'll pass.
Yeah. So could someone put myrrh in like a mister and then put that on their skin as a sun protector?
You could, and you would want to add some other components, and so there's some, you can start exploring that and create something.
Okay.
Maybe put it with coconut oil, but some other supportive healing, like lavender is a great one to put in. There's more. But I also wanted to tell you about cypress.
And you mentioned cypress during the raindrop techniques to help with the circulation system.
Yep. So cypress supports the circulatory system, and it's also found in biblical times. There's references to the cypress tree and the oil and the plants and how medicinal it can be. So, ooh, that's almost like a poem. And then other oils are cedarwood and sandalwood. Both of these are oils. And what's special about them, we talked about cleansing oils in the raindrop, the phenolic compounds. So here's some more chemistry. So cedarwood and sandalwood are high in sesquiterpenes. Sesquiterpenes are organic, like compounds, and they help to oxygenate tissue, and they delete misinformation on the DNA.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
So
that's a big statement.
They delete misinformation on DNA.
They help to do that. They support our healing process in deleting misinformation on the DNA. Well, like trauma response. So when you have a major trauma, you actually, and this is very simplified, so if there's medical people listening, I get it. This is just a simple explanation. It's not exact. But you kind of get acidic and release cortisol, and it creates this transcriptase enzyme release that transcribes misinformation on the DNA. For example, let's give you a simple story. A little child is playing with a furry thing, like a toddler is playing with a little furry thing on the ground. His mother walks in, sees what he's playing with, a spider. She freaks out. She scoops up the child and just screeches and drags him away. And well, that was a very traumatic experience for that little child. And his mom, little G God, I mean, this major person in his life, freaking out, gives him the information that spiders are bad. And now you have arachnophobia, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but then that child might respond to, or an adult who's afraid of a daddy long legs, it's not logical. We all know that daddy long legs are just little.
But maybe a trauma from when you were much younger.
Right. So that's the misinformation. By misinformation, it means anything with, what do they have, 8 legs?
Yes.
Yeah, 8 legs. Any 8-legged thing is going to be just horrifyingly dangerous. That's not true.
Okay, so that's the misinformation on our DNA.
So that's how misinformation happens, through trauma.
Okay.
In one way.
Thank you for explaining that.
And then cedarwood or sandalwood would be good oils to help offset that trauma.
Well, and they're very healing in that regard. And so cedarwood is used. You can first start reading about it in like the book of Leviticus in the Bible. That's Old Testament. And so a lot of people kind of say, oh, I don't like those essential oils. They're so new agey. And then I respond, so do you read the Bible? Well, yes. And what about the Old Testament? Well, absolutely. So what if I told you that these plants and derivatives and extractions and oils and whatever are mentioned deliberately in the Old Testament for purposes like the priest and the lepers, and like if you had leprosy back in those days, that was traumatic. Mm-hmm. You were ostracized, a lot of things. And so cedarwood was used on the right ear, the right big toe, the right thumb. You can read about it in Leviticus. And those are emotional release points. And they use cedarwood to, isn't that profound?
Yeah.
Like who knew?
Isn't it interesting that things that we are now calling new agey are actually old school?
Mm-hmm. Very old.
And somewhere in the last 50 years or so, we were kind of conditioned that this is how we should be doing stuff. So you bring these old biblical things back to light, and now it's considered new agey.
Isn't that funny?
It is.
And so I feel like I'm called as an educator to demystify and correct some misinformation. Mm-hmm. And so I try to do that. I do that the best I can with facts and science. So I'm thankful for mentors who've done all the research, and I can just vet the mentors, vet the information, and then share it like we did just now.
Yeah,
okay.
That's awesome.
And spikenard, you've all heard of, do you remember the Bible verse, and not that we're being religious, but the Bible verse where the woman broke the alabaster box and used an ointment, very costly, it says, to help anoint Jesus, all right? Well, that is a spikenard ointment.
Now, that's a one I haven't heard of. Spikenard?
Yep, me neither.
And spikenard, I actually have some, but not right here. I'll let you smell it in a minute, or, after the show. But spikenard is actually a very rare plant, and it's maybe even on the endangered species list, so it's hard to get. But I have some oil before it got more hard to get. It's
so are many of these oils from that region of the world around the Bible? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So many of them are grown in that area.
A lot of them are, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I love sandalwood, the way it smells and everything. Sandalwood's a good one.
So sandalwood is a good one for skin also. Mm-hmm. But so cedarwood and sandalwood are similar. Cedarwood is very inexpensive and sandalwood is very costly. And it has to do with the oil content in the wood and how many trees and blah, blah, blah.
Right. So. I used to make oat milk bath salts with sandalwood and vanilla.
Oh, yum.
Oh, and it was just the best smelling and soothing of anything. It was awesome. But sandalwood is not easy to come by. That's really good. I'm sure Young Life is phenomenal and has a great one.
Young Living does. And they actually get it from Kona. There is a sandalwood reforestation project that we're associated with, and they are reforesting sandalwood
Okay.
on the island of Kona, or in Kona.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now I know a lot of the oils that my wife has used. She'll use coconut oil to put and then
Like a carrier.
like a carrier. I know my grandson had some really bad allergies when he was much younger, and so she would use the coconut oil to help get it into the body. Is that
So what it does is carrier oils like olive oil or coconut oil, they don't really smell strong typically if they're good quality,
Right.
And so they're large chain fatty acids. Whereas when you walked in after a raindrop, it was filled with this aroma, right? Is because these little tiny molecules of essential oils, they go into the air. And so they're just very aromatic, very volatile, we say. And so a carrier oil helps to slow the absorption of these tiny molecules in through the body. And so if you were burning for some reason, I would use a carrier oil to slow that absorption and soothe. And so for children, it's really a good idea to use coconut oil or olive oil or jojoba or some other oil that you
something to get into the body a little slower?
It slows down the absorption.
Okay.
That's kind of and it also dilutes it, like one drop diluted into coconut oil or another carrier oil would help it spread farther and make it less costly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I know all of this, and there's a reason why both of us are wearing orange today.
Okay.
Your mother came down with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a version of blood cancer.
Yeah.
And a lot of this plays into her story. Can you share your mom's story with us?
I'm happy to. My mom, so I had just come back. My husband and I were flown down to one of the farms and distilleries and a health spa clinic type of place in Ecuador. And I thought, man, this, to escape the toxicity of North America and really be in a healthy region, that would be so wonderful. So then my mom, she called me and said, hey, I just went to the Mayo Clinic and found out this is what I have, stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
And how many years ago was that?
That was maybe 9 years ago.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right.
And I said, well, Mom, what are you going to do? She goes, I'm just trying to figure out whether I should do what the oncologist is saying or what I should do. I said, well, if you want to do it naturally, if you want to kick cancer, I didn't have that languaging then. If you want to kick cancer naturally, you need to do that first. You want to support your body before you,
Beat it up.
before beating it up. So she said, and I told her I'd love to take you to a clinic that I know of, and we could do that. And she's, oh man, I'm 80 years old. I'm not going to go to a third world country, blah, blah, blah. So then she did some research and she talked to a couple of women that looked her age, and they were getting IV chemotherapy, and she went to talk to them and found out they were younger than me. So she was 80, I was in my 50s, and these women looked 80
because of the chemo.
Maybe,
Absolutely, yeah.
and she thought, oh man.
It sucks the life right out of you.
So she called me back. She was in Florida. I'm in Oregon. She called me back and said, all right, I'll do this. So we spent 7 weeks in Ecuador with just all these healthy foods and healthy lifestyle and a lot of oils.
And this was a clinic in Ecuador.
Yeah, and we try to keep a low profile on that because, they're doing some things.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but we stayed there together 7 weeks and changed everything. It's just supportive. They have far infrared saunas and they have, ozone techniques and essential oil techniques. And I did 3 raindrops every week for my mom while we were down there because many of the oils have research that supports that they are anti-tumoral.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say that, but they support a body to fight cancer.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the key, too, is that you want to get your body to a place where it can fight the disease.
Yeah.
And this allows it to do that. So we're not saying these oils are going to cure the disease.
No.
They're just get your
support
body to a place that you can actually fight the disease better.
Yeah, they're going to help give you extra tools in your toolbox.
And they
if you will.
support wellness. And when your body is strong and your immune system is strengthened, guess what? It can do its job.
Yes.
That's really all I'm saying. And it turned out, but also all the pieces. You guys, I think when we have this conversation, I love how you bring in nutrition and lifestyle and thinking and stress. All of that played into it because no sugar. It was a diet of just really wonderful. You can imagine in Ecuador, they have just lush fruits and vegetables, and that's what she ate. And
It's amazing when you can get all the sugar out of your system.
Yes.
Yep, no sugar. Just healthy food.
Yeah.
So that was really great. And colonics to support that part of our body, to exit the waste products and things. And so she just supported her body for 7 weeks without adding more toxins to it. And it worked. She came back after 7 weeks, and her oncologist did a PET scan. And I was back in Oregon, so I just kind of got in on the phone call, and he said, yeah, but there's no sign of cancer. And I said, well...
At all?
At all. I said, does that mean she's in remission? He said, no, there's no sign of cancer in 7 weeks. A very aggressive form of stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
So to go from stage 3, aggressive, to no cancer at all.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And my mom, that was 9 years ago. So the Mayo Clinic said, if you do nothing, you have maybe 2 months to live. If you follow our program, you may have 2 years to live, but it will come back. So that was almost 9 years ago, something like that, 8 or 9 years ago, and she didn't do any of that. So then the real truth of the story is she did, a couple years ago, get breast cancer, but she had reintroduced some of the toxic lifestyle.
Right.
I mean,
We get comfortable.
We get comfortable, and she's eating sugar again and doing all that, and whatever caused it, she got breast cancer and had it surgically removed, early stage, and it was taken care of. And I was just there a couple weeks ago, and she's still
alive.
She's still alive.
9 years later.
Yep. She's like 88, 89 years old.
That is
she's
so
on oxygen
awesome.
and, you know.
Yeah. But she's here.
She's had some wonderful experiences, wonderful years.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's doing
That's
pretty
awesome.
good.
We had
Pretty
a
good.
guest on some time back, and very similar story where she had been diagnosed stage 4, I believe.
Yeah.
And they basically said there's nothing we can do. You know, just go home, keep yourself comfortable, and prepare to pass away.
Yeah.
And she went, I don't think she went to Ecuador, but she went to Mexico, I
Somewhere
believe.
in Mexico,
Yep.
yeah.
And a very similar situation where she was able to go in with a whole different approach to what's going on. And now she's 7 or 8 years cancer free.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it was just changing mostly her diet, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot of it was the diet and lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's the hard for people to realize, is that it's the lifestyle changes you have to attack.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, like when you're feeding your body better, your mind's better, you're thinking more clearer, you can fight off all the things, and it just puts us in a totally different position to be able to take on all those things.
Absolutely. And I would recommend that you Google health benefits of limonene.
Limonene. I have not heard. That's a new word for it. What's limonene?
Limonene is a component found in citrus essential oils.
Okay.
You mentioned orange.
Oranges.
It's also in lime and lemon.
Love
and
lemon essential oils.
yes. Well, every water bottle that I ever have, you know, it's metal and not plastic, but I add citrus oils, and that was a big component of. She did a lot with frankincense.
Okay.
And also a lot with citrus oils and myrrh and some other oils, right? But the citrus oils are high in limonene. And so look up the health benefits and the research that show what the impact of limonene, found in citrus oils, is on cancer.
Okay.
That's low-hanging fruit, you guys. Citrus oils are not expensive.
No, they're not.
And they're...
help with the alkalinity in our bodies?
Well, citrus juice does. The citrus fruit does. But not necessarily the lemon or citrus oil. They're completely different.
Okay.
Yeah. They're different
Okay.
chemicals. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that is another thing that she did. And the raindrop and frankincense every day and every way. We won't go into all the details, but
Right.
lots, and ozone and the
We've had conversations about ozone therapy as well.
Yeah.
So all of these little modalities we talked about play into your mother's story
Absolutely.
so well.
Yep. So when somebody said afterwards, "Ooh, how many drops of frankincense will cure cancer?" I'm like, no.
That's not, no.
Yeah.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about supporting our body and changing lifestyle habits that invited cancer in,
Yeah.
we have to make some changes.
Yeah.
To keep them out.
Yep, exactly. And so when I met Barron, I just really want to tell. Are we ready
Yeah,
there?
yeah, go for it. Yeah, yeah.
When I met Barron, and he has put Kicking Cancer together, so not everybody can go to a third world country.
Right.
And not all these things are put together. It is now 8 or 9 years later, and a lot of these supporting modalities are readily available. But do people have the awareness? Do you know about far infrared sauna and its role, and red light therapy? You told me about that, and essential oils and good nutrition,
Right.
ozone, all the things. Do we even know? And stress release and better sleep and all of those things, and the role that it has in kicking cancer. And here I meet Barron. And
you're trying to pull these different kind of people together in the Central area together as well.
in my mind, I think, man, I wish, because a lot of people have said, your mother's story inspires me, but I can't get to Ecuador.
Right.
It costs so much money, and it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I thought, man, I wish we could kind of put something together so that people would know what's available to support them locally in North America.
Yeah. To be educated.
And then to be educated. And to have the support and kind of some direction.
Yeah.
'Cause you get it, like my mom called me. She goes, I'm telling you this, and I'm just starting to figure out what in the world I'm going to do. I had just come back from Ecuador, and I could give her some, hey, there are some ways that are legit, Mom,
Right.
to support you.
Yeah.
Because before we thought, oh, all this holistic stuff, yeah, but my life is on the line. I don't know.
Right.
So I love that you're bringing out these stories. Like, I told you the truth.
Yeah.
This happened. My mom was 80 years old. She couldn't do the full protocol.
Yeah.
She did her best, but it was just exhausting. You know, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And it still worked.
Yes.
7 weeks.
That's awesome.
7 weeks.
That is amazing.
I didn't even know at the time. At the time, I thought, I don't know, maybe it'll help.
Right.
And then the PET scan, which is the technology that shows. And
So crazy.
no cancer. I'm like,
That's awesome.
I was surprised. Even.
Well, and several of these modalities are available right here in the Salem area and the Bend area.
And the
So
Bend
to
area.
connect these people together so they can
Yeah.
all take advantage of this stuff. It's amazing.
Yes, and build the awareness and come beside them and show them the education and
Yeah.
like go teams and go two teams. I love
Yes.
that. It's brilliant.
Even if you don't have cancer, these types of things are so beneficial for you because then you're prepping your body to not get cancer and to fight it off if it does approach. It's just living in a better. It's better all the way around.
It's
so
better
I try
living.
to apply it to me all the time.
I love that. And so, you know, even if we're working with somebody that is doing some oncology, like chemotherapy and all of that, all their loved ones now can become aware of what to do to prevent it so they don't have to go through what their loved one is
Right.
going through, this
Exactly.
battle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, like you said, the education and awareness is beautiful.
It's never too early or late to start.
Never too late.
Ever.
Oh, yeah. Never too early. Rarely too late.
So if somebody wanted to utilize your essential oils or like have you kind of make a blend for the sunblock, like you were saying, are you available for people to reach out and buy those products from?
Absolutely. I'm a brand partner with Young Living Essential Oils. And so,
How would they get a hold of you, Cindy?
Yeah.
you know, you could call me. I mean, seriously, I answer my phone. And
Okay.
I suppose you're going to put a banner or something
There will
like
be
that.
a little blip right in here that'll tell you.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
call me. Text
Okay.
me. Text is best.
Okay.
And I will get back with you. I do have a website, and I have a link to Young Living, and I have a promo code that can help people save extra money on the first order. And, you know, I'm here as a resource.
Okay.
And I'd love to talk to you.
Perfect. And if you guys aren't watching on YouTube and aren't able to catch that information, just email me, amanda@kslm.news, and I will get you over all of Cindy's information, website, and number, and all the good things.
Well, we appreciate you coming from Bend over to share the oils, to do the
Yes.
raindrop technique, to share your mother's story, to kind of educate us as to what you're doing over there as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
This
And
is-
then people can do the raindrop. Can you, if people wanted to do that, could they also go through that with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm an educator. I love to teach people because I want to empower you. So
Yes.
bring your spouse, bring your favorite massage therapist, and let's get together and create support, you know?
Okay. I love it so much.
I love it.
Yes. Well, in our timeline last time, we mentioned the fact that It would have been fall of 2022, and we had decided to do a disc golf tournament out of Salem, and so I had this big, huge banner on Highway 22. Well, it was October of 2022 that Noah and I went out to the golf course, and the disc golfers loved it because they actually got to drive a golf cart around the golf course as they played disc golf. And so we had our first disc golf event late 2022.
Okay.
And that was a ton of fun with Noah.
Oh, I bet.
That's how he and I first met.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So, in fact, Noah told me at that time we had just started working with Odd Mo's, and Odd Mo's had their beers, and I was going to let Noah take one. He wasn't even old enough to have a beer yet.
That's funny.
But Noah's a young man that we share a store with, and we've done a lot of disc golf events. So that was our first exposure to Noah, was at that event there.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much for coming in, Cindy. I really appreciate it. I love your passion.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
I love what Kicking Cancer is up to, Baron. You're the visionary.
We'll keep it rolling forward.
Absolutely. Huge shout out to Venti's Cafe. They are so awesome. I love their Buddha burger with their mushroom lentil patty, not the beef patty. It's so good.
That's always your favorite.
And then if you get the sweet potato fries, they've got coconut shavings, like roasted coconut shavings and honey drizzled on top. Oh, see ya. All right, so thank you so much, and we'll be back next week
as the movement continues.